gave the link in the description box of the part 1 video. So, topic to be discussed today are: first we will see the definition of taxonomy, then we will see the basic process of taxonomic studies, then we will study about the classical taxonomy and modern taxonomy, then we will go through the taxonomic categories like kingdom, phylum, class, genus, like that, and after that we will study about the taxonomical aids, that are the museum, botanical gardens, zoological garden, etc. So in this part 2 we will see about that. So let's watch. So at first we will study about the definition of taxonomy. So what is taxonomy? It is the science of identification, classification and nomenclature. So it is the science of identification, classification and nomenclature. Based on their characteristics, all living organisms can be classified into different taxa. Based on the characteristics, all living organisms can be classified into different taxa. This process of classification is known as taxonomy. So this process of classification of the living organism is known as taxonomy. Carolus Linnaeus is known as the father of taxonomy. So Carolus Linnaeus is the father of taxonomy. So this is the definition of taxonomy. So now we will see about the basic process of taxonomic studies. So what is the process? Organisms are described on the basis of morphology and other characteristics. Means organisms are described in the taxonomy on the basis of their morphology and other characteristics. Next one is the characteristics help in the placement of the organism in various taxa. The characteristics help in the placement of organism in the various taxa. Means these characteristics help the organism to place in the correct taxa. A new taxon can be framed if the organism is different from the existing taxa. Means if we found a new taxon or a new organism, if we found a new organism that could be in new taxon if the So now we will see about